Do you ever remember the time when Pixar was absolutely killing it in terms of movies? I mean, there was, Bugs Life, which, I mean, is not really looked back on as much as like Toy Story, Incredibles, Up, the OG Cars, Monsters Inc. Like, Pixar dominated the animated movie landscape for years. And I think I can pinpoint exactly when Pixar fell off, but I don't exactly know what caused the fall off because DreamWorks just animated movies in general before like Puss in Boots and The Last Wish. Animated movies in general were on a big decline. Like, I mean, everything is just on a decline in terms of like entertainment, but um I mean, I think it started in 2010, even before Cars 2 came out. Like, people would argue that Cars 2 was the fall off of Disney Pixar. But you have to remember in the in the 90s and then in the 2000s. I mean, Pixar produced Ratatouille, Finding Nemo, Wall-E, like so many incredible movies. But the problem with Pixar, oh, also you can't forget Toy Story 2 was also in that mix. But you see, here's the thing that I've always said, right? How to Train Your Dragon, Shrek, and Kung Fu Panda for DreamWorks was DreamWorks does series better than Pixar does. But Pixar makes better singular movies, is what I and a lot of people have always said. So I think personally, this is just me, that Pixar fell off in 2010. And the reason that it fell off in 2010 was that they ran out of their golden era movies after Toy Story 3. Toy Story 3 should have been the end of the Toy Story franchise, and if I'm being real, it should have been the end of Pixar. Because from that moment, they had downfalls. Whereas DreamWorks was kind of still on the up and up. I mean, you know, Shrek 3 it came out in what, 2007, and people didn't like it, but DreamWorks had Kung Fu Panda 2. They had How to Train Your Dragon, which was still going, right? Um, Shrek 4 was on the horizon at that point, so DreamWorks still had good movies coming out, and Pixar had just used up the last of their like solid movies. It was Toy Story 3 and then Up, and then Brave came out, and then Cars 2 came out. And then I believe The Good Dinosaur came out after that, or like around that time period. Oh, okay, it's outside. Sorry. You guys can't hear that beeping. Sorry. But Toy Story 2 or sorry, Toy Story 3 and Up were like the last great golden Pixar movies. They ran out of ideas is what I think happened. Because Inside Out came out in the what, 2015, I think. And then Toy Story 4 got announced in like 2017, I think. Incredibles 2 came out in 2018, mid. Cars 3 actually my family and I recently just rewatched it. It's actually not terrible. It's actually not bad. Like, go figure, it's actually not that bad. That should have been the end of the Cars franchise, but they're making the Cars 4 because of course they are. Um, but Finding Dory came out, which was mid. Monsters University came out, which is a prequel to Monsters Inc. That ruins the Monsters Inc. movie. There's an Inside Out 2 coming out. The best movie that Pixar's made since Toy Story 3 and up was Coco. Yeah, I said it. Coco kind of felt like a return to form for Pixar, kind of. What was it a flash in the pan? Yeah, probably because I've said this before, okay? Toy Story 4 is a good movie, but the ending is stupid as hell, which is probably why they're making a Toy Story 5 because nobody liked the ending to Toy Story 4 because Toy Story 3 had the perfect ending. It had the most beautiful ending that I've seen in an animated movie. And I think that Pixar knew that people were not going to be satisfied if that was the end of Toy Story, so they're making one more after that. But it doesn't make sense to continue Lightning McQueen's story with the Cars 4. It just doesn't. I'm sorry. It just doesn't. It doesn't make any sense. Um so there's that, right? But then you gotta think about something else. Something that I've thought of too. DreamWorks is coming out with Kung Fu Panda 4. And also, DreamWorks is in the works. Shrek 5 has basically it hasn't been, but it has been confirmed. Shrek 5 is coming out. Despicable Me 4 for some fucking reason is coming out for some reason. Megamind's back. Like it's a wild time. And I don't think any of this would have happened if Puss in Boots and The Last Wish hadn't done well. If that failed, and animated movies would be done so. But I think that Puss in Boots being good actually influenced the studios to keep on going. Now, will they live up to The Last Wish? I hope Shrek does. I really, really do. Cars 4, probably not. Toy Story 5, I doubt it. Despicable Me 4, no. Megamind, definitely not. Frozen 3, who gives a fuck about Frozen? Who cares about Frozen? But like, in all seriousness, Pixar's fall off has to be studied, and I really want to do a deeper dive on this at some point. Maybe talk about it on like the podcast or talk with friends about this. But you guys tell me what you think. When did Pixar fall off, or do you think Pixar didn't fall off, and do you think Pixar has still been putting out bangers this whole time? I'm welcome to hear everybody's opinions. And on that note, that's all that we got time for today. I'll see you on the next one. RG out. I will talk to you next time. Deuces.